So before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So, let's get into it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, week 15 of the NFL season is coming up, and for the Chicago Bears, they will be taking on the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football, coming off a very embarrassing loss to the San Francisco 49ers. In this video, per usual, I'm going to give my 3 keys to the game that I think the Bears should do to be able to win this game. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here, back at it with another video. Today, we are doing the Bears. Bears are back on the road, going into Minnesota for Monday Night Football, taking on the Minnesota Vikings, a team that they nearly beat earlier in the year. We are coming off a loss to the San Francisco 49ers, in a game which we were not competitive in. The Minnesota Vikings are coming off probably one of their best wins of the season, completely starching the Atlanta Falcons last Sunday. So, divisional games are always tough. However, I don't really have a lot of optimism going into this game, but I'm going to try to keep this as quick as possible, as I'm probably just going to rehash a few things that I said in the first game. So, So, number one, always when you go into a game with the Minnesota Vikings, you got to figure out a way to stop Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is a monster. We know him very well. He rushed for his 4th 100-yard game against us in the first matchup back at Soldier Field. The Bears just overall have to be better with defense as a whole. But it always seems like when we play Aaron Jones, he finds these big holes in our defense and is able to run all over us. He's able to carry regular 2-3 yard runs and turn them into 10-15 yard rushes. And that's how the Minnesota Vikings like to start their offense. They like to start with the run. They like to soften you up, weaken you with the run game, and then try to go over the top with all those great weapons that they have. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, and so on and so forth. The Bears are going to have to be on their P's and Q's, man. They have to be able to stop the run in this game. I think we got kind of lucky last week playing the 49ers, as they were just torching us through the air. They didn't really commit to the run like that. But this team definitely will. So we need to figure out a way to get to Aaron Jones in the backfield, stop him immediately as we make contact with them, be able to make consistent tackles, be formed with our run fits, be able to set the edge. Just basic things of football that we haven't seen from this team in recent weeks. We got to figure out a way to stop the run. I would like to see the Bears hold Aaron Jones to at least under 100 yards rushing if they can, but I doubt it. Point number 2, we got to get our offense going much earlier. There seems to be a trend all season, and mainly ever since Thomas Brown took play calling duties over. We seem to have an issue with starting very slow on offense. This has been a constant theme throughout the year. This didn't just start with Thomas Brown taking the mantle for offensive play calling, but it's definitely not a new revelation that the Bears start slow on offense. And against a very good team like the Minnesota Vikings, a team that can put up points very fast, they showed that last week. You cannot afford to fall behind like you did against the San Francisco 49ers last week either. And you see what happens when you have to try to dig yourself out of a hole. We saw that last week. You have to basically play perfect down the stretch. Mind you, with not all that much time left in the game, you have to be able to put up points early to keep yourself in games. If you go down 30-0 or 24-0 in the first half, it's very unlikely that you're going to make a full comeback like that. The Bears have been doing it all year, especially in these recent divisional games. They start off slow and then find out a way to come back later in games and give themselves a chance to win. But that didn't happen last week, and that's because that's not a consistent style of play that you need to be able to win. So the Bears are going to have to figure out a way to get their offense going. I don't know what's going on with the run game, but I still think we need to commit to it a little bit more. You got to be able to protect Caleb, let him go through his progressions and find open guys. And then when he sees those open guys, you're going to have to throw the ball to them accurately. And when he does throw the ball accurately, we're going to have our receivers catch the ball, because that contributes to the offense starting slow, is when your receivers are dropping passes. Your offensive line is giving up sacks. Your quarterback isn't accurate. You're not running the ball efficiently. You're turning the ball over. That's not a good parameter for good offense, especially in the first half of games. And we've seen that consistently with this Bears team every single week. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get their offense started early. Maybe some of those plays that they start, calling in the second half, maybe they need to implement that for the first few plays of the game. Because if you go into this Minnesota Vikings game and you are unable to score and you get blanked in the first half, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to be able to make a huge comeback like that. So I would say we need to start our offense off fast. We need to get Caleb comfortable early and often. And I do think we need to commit to the run game a little bit more in this game. And point number 3, man, I always make it a point to mention this, but we need to be able to get pressure on Sam Darnold. In the first matchup, in the first half, we were unable to get consistent pressure on Sam Darnold in that game. Towards the second half of that first Minnesota Vikings game, we were able to get a little bit more consistent pressure on Sam Darnold, and that's when the Bears started to get the ball back more, and that's when they started to make a little run at things and get some momentum, But when you're unable to get to Sam Darnold back there, if he has all the time in the world to just sit back there and go through his progressions, these receivers are too good to be covering for 7 seconds. And honestly, our secondary hasn't been playing all that well. As of recently, the defense has completely dropped off a cliff. And we just saw that last week. This is a team that has weapons, that's fully healthy. They're going to be a difficult team to cover. And then if you're not able to get consistent pressure, it's going to be a long, long day. Now, what the Bears are going to need to do is they might need to send, a few more blitzes. I didn't really particularly care for the game plan that Eric Washington had against San Francisco. No real blitz packages, just sending 4, seeing if we could get past that offensive line. That didn't work. So now we need to figure out a way to make Sam Darnold move off platform and make those tougher throws. We've seen him make those throws last week especially, but I would rather have him on the move trying to make those throws and tough decisions than have him sitting back there in the pocket being able to pick you apart. Boom, Jefferson. Boom, Addison. Boom, TJ Hawkinson. We need to figure out a way to get pressure, and when we do get pressure on Sam Darnold, we're going to need to wrap up and get him to the ground as quick as possible because he can't escape sacks. He has very good mobility, and if we're unable to contain him, if we're unable to rush his throws, rush his process, he's going to pick us apart all game. So, getting consistent pressure on Sam Darnold is always a must when you play the Minnesota Vikings. If you don't, he will pick you apart all game. Ultimately, like I said, this was going to be a quick video. I just wanted to rehash a couple things that I said during the first video. I ultimately have the Minnesota Vikings winning 37-17. I just don't feel like the Bears are in it at all. I feel like they quit weeks ago. They fired the coach. That doesn't seem to help. Last week, it felt like they just didn't really care for playing like that. And also, our offense is really, really struggling in the first half of games. It seems like Minnesota refound that footing against that Atlanta Falcons team. I do think the Bears will have moments in the second half where they make a little run at it. But ultimately, if you have to play perfect each game to be able to have a chance to win, and you have to rely on these consistent comebacks from 24 points down or 30 points down, you're not going to have an easy chance to win. Couple that with the fact that the Bears have been unable to stop the run. Every time they play Aaron Jones, they've been unable to cover teams as they've been playing a lot of soft zone coverage. And honestly, their secondary isn't playing all that well. And this just doesn't shape up to be a good matchup. I think the Minnesota Vikings have probably adjusted to what Thomas Brown wants to do on offense as they've seen him for the first time back in Soldier Field. And I think they've made those adjustments. Do I think Caleb plays well? I think he plays okay in this game, but I don't think it's enough to be able to offset that powerful Minnesota offense. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Who do you guys have winning? Do you have the Bears or do you have the Minnesota Vikings? Let me know how and why in the comment section. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the videos. It helps the channel grow. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as I am on my way to 1,000 subscribers. So always hitting that big red sub button always helps. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop one of these Bears videos. As always, follow me on social media. I'm thinking about doing some more topics on this channel as well. as the Bear season is winding down. So we'll see. But ultimately, guys, thank you for watching. Bear down, and I'm out. Peace.